Canada's Conservative Party is among those calling for an end to the policy. Eric Duncan is an Ontario Conservative MP, and he is in Cornwall, Ontario. Mr. Duncan, thank you very much for joining the program to talk about this policy. But before I get to the policy itself, this is one that has personally and directly affected you by this ban. Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, well, David, thank you for having me on. Recently, I shared my story about the blood ban and how it personally impacted me. What happened was when I was about 16, 17, maybe 18 years old, I can't remember exactly the age, but I went to donate blood for the first time and did not realize that if you were a man who had sex with a man, you were disqualified. I wasn't out at that time to my family or friends or anybody, and I was absolutely petrified from that. And for one of the very first few times in my life, or the few times in my life, I felt like there was something wrong with me by being gay. And I was able to go through and check off that no, I couldn't donate, but pretended to donate for the first time. And I remember getting back to my car that night and thinking that whenever that blood got back into Canadian Blood Services, it was going in the dumpster just because I was gay. And so having the opportunity now to serve as a member in the House of Commons, I'm holding the government to account to keep their promise. I'm proud that our leader, every major political party in Canada, is now behind this and wanting to end the blood ban. We just got to keep the pressure on the government. It's been 6 years, and there's no reason whatsoever that this ban is still in place today.
Okay, so we have seen the ban shrink in terms of time limits. I mean, there was a point in time where it was at any point, if an individual has ever had sex with another man, and then it went to 5 years and shrunk. Now it's down to 3 months, and Canadian Blood Services has said that is partly because testing doesn't pick up, for instance, HIV in those early months. Why do you think this ban, as you say, after every political party leader supports ending it, why is it that it still exists?
Good question. You're going to have to ask the Minister of Health, and it says everything as to why Canadian Blood Services and the Health Minister did not want to come on today of all days to talk about this policy, because I don't think they can defend it anymore. It's political will. The United Kingdom actually was Conservatives under Boris Johnson just a couple of months ago. They announced a significant change to their policy. And so I look at it today where, and I give credit to some wonderful organizations, the All Blood is Equal campaign, the Canadian Medical Association. They've come out and said the questionnaire or the questions that are being asked, it shouldn't be based on whether you're a man who has sex with a man, but rather based on sexual behavior. And there's a safer way of doing this. The answer is there, and we're actually arguing with the minister that she has the legislative ability to do this and make the change with the stroke of her pen. And David, the cynic in me just says, you know, they promised during an election campaign to say, yes, we'll get rid of it. And now when you ask for a question or comment, oh, well, it's independent, it's arm's length. Well, if that was the case, why'd you promise it during an election campaign twice? It's just very cynical. And if I sound a little bitter, I am.
I want to ask you about your proposal, and it's not just your proposal to move away from a time frame and more to a risk-based screening or a behavior-based screening process. What would that look like?
So what it would look like is, you know, asking it based on sexual behavior. It shouldn't matter if you're having sex, a man with a woman or man with a man. There's unsafe sexual behaviors, and there's ways that questionnaires can be asked. And here's just an example, David. If there's a monogamous gay couple who's been living in Toronto happily for the last 10, 15 years in a relationship just between the two of them, they should not be disqualified from donating blood if just because of the fact that they're gay. So change the questionnaire to say and talk about sexual behavior. And part of the challenge is getting donors to be comfortable about asking some different types of questions on the questionnaire. But this goes back to the important day, the international day we've got today when it comes to people who identify as gay, bi, or transsexual. This is a discriminatory policy. The government says as much. So, you know, enough with the statements, enough of this talk and the statement. This is something the government can do to eliminate today, a proven solution from numerous medical and LGBT organizations, and they just refuse to do it. So time has come, change the questionnaire, let's get it done.
So Canadian Blood Services has more than a dozen research projects that are going on right now, and they have said they would then want Health Canada, after those results of those research projects are out, they would then want Health Canada to review and potentially approve this. Does it make sense to wait until that's done?
The research is done and the research is clear. Health Canada, actually, I'll give credit to Justin Ling. I always tease Justin. We don't agree on much, but he's been a very good, strong advocate on this with the blood ban. He did a Freedom of Information request to Health Canada. It was about 700 pages, and Health Canada has documents that prove that the ban is outdated. It perpetuates a stigma, and actually, David, it's a danger to the blood supply because what it's doing is it's unnecessarily turning away people who could be safe to donate otherwise. So they're in possession of this. They have the research. Look at the United Kingdom, look at other countries around the world, and I've been a bigger advocate pulling back the health lens a little bit. We share, and it's a bit of a tangent, but we share military intelligence with the Five Eyes around the world, and we're safer and we're better off for it. Nobody thinks, so we're apples to oranges, so we don't share information. We need to change our lens when it comes to public health information, not just with the blood ban, but with COVID. Why can't we rely on science that comes from the United Kingdom, that comes from Australia and New Zealand and like-minded countries? There's been no shortage of research here. It's the political will to get this done. That's all it's missing.